Hey everyone, Daniel here. And only Daniel, no Jake. I'm gonna do the stream without him because his computer crashed and we don't even need no Jake, right? Like, he's not all that interesting. He doesn't design most of the monsters. He hasn't written virtually every monster in the book. Like, yeah, I don't think he's needed for this stream at all. So it's fine. Not gonna need him. If you're looking at the stream, like this, yeah, like I do this off my computer. So this little area up here is just shit. Jake's trying to get back in the stream. We shouldn't let him though. We should make sure that he stays out. Okay, well maybe not. Look at me getting bigger. I'm getting bigger now. Oh, Jake's here. Yep.
Oh, hello?
I think he made it.
Did I make it?
Yep. Jake is
Can you?
frozen, but I can hear him.
Oh, well, hang on. I can't even see you for whatever reason. So
Well, that's a problem.
this is. Oh wait, now I can see you.
You vaguely moved. What is up with that? We're like, we get the
Oh my
stream
God,
running.
you're.
What? Eh? You're working.
Okay, wait.
You're moving vaguely.
Am I?
Yeah, you are, kinda.
Quick, tell me your name.
George Francis III.
Quick, tell me my name.
Francis George II.
Close enough. Okay, I can talk to you now.
Yeah, great. Perfect. I'm so glad.
I was about to hop on my phone to chat with you. I want you to know that.
Brennan says that you look like you are shirtless because you're wearing a skin-colored shirt, which is exciting. The whole stream is excited.
That was about to be.
Now you just cut out again. Wow.
I don't.
I
know
think you
why.
made a good joke. I don't know what the joke was, but
I mean, probably. I'm just gonna go ahead and close everything that doesn't need to be open, I guess.
yeah,
I'm trying. I was like, okay, I'll have all of the monster documents up, like ready to go, and I don't know if that's angering Google or not or what.
my
Oh, I left. Oh wait, did I leave? No, I didn't. It's trying to make me join again. What's happening?
no, it's actually almost acting like it's a problem on my end. My computer
Oh,
is running, but I think it's funny, guys. So we were here 30 minutes early and we were getting set up and we're like, oh, everything's perfect. This is super easy, no big deal. And of course, literally at 7:30, I'm going to hit the go live button. And that's when I see Jake's screen freeze and then he exits the chat and I'm like, okay, go
dude, my
figure.
computer decided it was time to reset apparently, which makes no sense. I don't know what happened. This is like Monday all over, or Sunday? Sunday. Yes, Sunday. I don't know if anyone else have this problem, but if you can hear me, I couldn't get into like my banking app because something happened with Cloudflare or whatever internet thing owns internet things. Like I couldn't get in my stuff. My friend who works at goes to a different credit union couldn't get in their stuff. My other friend who's at a bank can't get into stuff. But then like Max could actually get into theirs, and we go to the same place. So it was just like a bunch of weirdness.
It's really interesting that you say that because, I work in shipping and like FedEx
Right.
has been down quite a bit recently. So I'm curious if there's like a connection there.
Right.
My YouTube chat just went down, so you know maybe that's also an issue. Who knows?
I have no idea. We're gonna find out, I guess. This has just turned into an interesting day.
Right?
Oh man! All right, let me see if I can. I'm gonna try and get chat pulled up.
Eric says in the chat, "How about a monster that drains your internet feed?"
I mean, we have particle ghosts, and that's like that's on the way. Hey, I can see the stream.
Yeah.
Well, I can see part of it at least.
Oh my god, my download speed is incredible and my upload speed is trash. That's real interesting.
Dude, I had that to the Monday. Yeah, yesterday, Monday. Like, I'm plugged into gigabit internet and I had 100 megs. Which, granted, that's still really good. Yeah. Not when you're paying for gigabit, though.
You're right, exactly. Yeah, I'm like 900 megabits down and 0.06 up. And I'm like, that's not the numbers I want to see when doing a YouTube stream.
No. I hope everyone can hear us okay. Because that's just weird.
I know Brennan and Eric are in the chat, so they're going to tell us if they can't hear us or if we're doing anything weird. Because I trust them to be great audience members.
Okay, Eric says they can hear us, so that's good.
Perfect. That's all I want. If Eric can hear me,
yeah,
I'm happy.
Yeah. All right, cool. I don't have to pull up chat on my phone then. Because boy, oh boy, I was excited to see if that was it.
Yeah.
Now's the time where we promote our Patreon so that Jake can get an upgraded computer because we can get paid enough then. So this doesn't happen. Part-time jobs, yay.
Yeah.
Help us turn our paid hobby into a part-time job for Jake.
Work in progress.
I mean, to be fair, if we do that, then Retroscape, you guys will probably get a bunch of updates like almost every day. Because then I'll be able to be like, I can just do this.
God, if I wasn't working like crazy right now, I would love. Work is killing me. I'm tired of it.
That's fair. Brennan apparently can't hear you because you two are feuding right now. So.
Well, yeah. I don't even think Brennan's in the chat. I haven't seen a single message from Brennan tonight. Who is Brennan again? Can you remind me?
Brennan's that guy giving me a panic attack because he somehow sent a loading screen emoticon.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm not gonna lie. So like, I saw that in the chat, and then I immediately like switched browsers and opened up our YouTube chat in a different browser.
I think we did the same thing, so I think we're gonna blame it on Brennan. Brennan's the reason that I had to reset.
I totally believe that. Because like my whole system like just crapped out. It's like I saw that loading screen. I was like, okay,
I panicked.
Jake's frozen. I can't get my photo thing to open. My upload speed is like fried. What's going on?
Brennan decided to make a joke.
Brennan making a joke and destroys our entire stream.
Yep, but it's okay. All that tells you is that memes can change the world.
That is unfortunately true.
Now, do I want people to like believe that? No, because I have to act like I hate memes because that's my whole shtick.
That is kind of
but still, I love the memes.
Okay, so now we have a monster that like drains your internet. Now we're also talking about, you know, memes can destroy the world. Can we make like a mimetic monster? You know, something that infects your mind or travels through the internet.
I mean, to be fair, we have Nightmare, which we could kind of make a computer version of Nightmare.
Do we have Nightmare like in a released format?
Yes. Go to. Let me see. I believe it's under N for Nightmare.
Ah, fantastic. Let me look at the public doc.
If not, it is in a Patreon adventure called No in Space. No one can hear you scream.
Oh, that's where it is.
Yeah, that's where the Nightmare tree, the Sandman is. Sandman might not be. Nightmare, the actual horses, I believe are, and I think the tree is. Sandman might not be, because the Sandman was such a specific to the story monster that I didn't want to spend time on it, as bad as that sounds. I wanted to wait to actually expand that into an adventure, because I realized there's some monsters we're going to have that are kind of like going to be scenario specific.
Yep, totally have nightmares. So we have the Nightmare horses, Nightmare tree beasts. Oh, no, Sandman is in here.
Oh, Sandman is? Okay, cool. Well, then never mind. I was ahead of myself and I didn't even know it. That tells you how much I remember things. Uh, Mimetic idea spread via reproduces via mimetic idea spread. Isn't oh, what's that called? That's a thing from Tibetan lore. I know it. Dang it! I used to know what this is called because I used to study a lot of this stuff.
I don't know. I have no
I don't.
idea.
I can't. I think it's like creatures born from ideas. I think it's Tibetan. I could be thinking of something else. I
Sounds cool.
there. Damn it! I
I
have
think
to. I'll find it. There's some creature. It's called. The idea of it is basically, if enough people believe in it, it becomes reality. Which is like the whole idea behind. I don't know if these creatures are technically copyrighted, but like SCPs, I know that you can say, but like the famous ones like Slenderman or things like that, or Siren Head is the new one, I think.
that's neat.
But yeah, there's that. I mean, to be fair, that sounds like a network operative going off Braden's thing. A network operative went crazy, or just some kind of tech like that, where they just spread through people knowing they exist. It makes them stronger. It's like the
Okay.
it's a weird. I don't know. I don't know why that feels like an echo power almost.
You something definitely echoed when you said that. I
I tapped my glass. I'm sorry.
no, I think it was thematically appropriate.
Yeah, creepypasta.
Creepy pasta.
Sorry, I'm so AD right now.
Yeah. I every time someone talks about like the idea of like monsters like that, I think about I did research on it was like I think it was Filipino style vampires
Mm-hmm.
where they are immortal. They're totally immortal. They cannot be killed. However, most of them have some sort of OCD style tick to them.
Mm-hmm. It's where a lot of the I know in a lot of like this I would say a lot. A lot's the wrong word. I know there is like the myth about like you throw rice in front of certain. I think it's the zombie, the Walking Dead version in certain cultures, and they have to put it back together or something.
Yep, that's it.
Or they have to count it. Yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff. It's so
Yeah, they
weird
have to
but
count it.
interesting.
That's the one I'm familiar with. But
Yeah, there's
man, so like I drafted the beginning of an RPG book called The Bones of Cain,
ooh.
where it was a vampire game, and in it the characters are normally, not always, but normally they are literally immortal. And you're like, as long as like you can find these skeleton bones and you can rejuvenate them with just a little bit of blood, like the bones start regrowing the body around them. And part of the whole history or storyline is like Cain was one of the original vampires, and his bones have been spread all around the world. So you have to collect all the bones in order to actually reform the original vampire of Cain. At least it's a story concept. But I always wanted them to have an OCD style tick.
I mean, that's a good way to build a horror game from the Midwest. I have to make sure I pronounce that correctly.
Horror.
Horror. Horror.
A horror style game.
A horror game. Yeah. Oh god, I'm not gonna say. I think it's Jiangxi, the ones who Eastern culture. Yeah. How about a monster you don't perceive as a threat? It's a small, cute creature that follows you around and sucks life force. So the longer you're with him, the more fatigue they cause the group. That sounds really cool. That also sounds like I could also be just thinking of cartoon. Early 2000s cartoons basically formed Jake's idea of monsters to a large degree. So like Pokemon, Digimon, Duel Masters, weird card games in general. But I think Jackie Chan Adventures had some kind of like little cute like creature that it would just suck the happiness out of you, but it also made you happier, so it could just suck your life force out. I think that was an episode. That reminds me of that, which I like a lot. Also, did you know that the Library of Congress website has just supernatural beings categorized?
I did not.
I learned that.
That that is an exciting fact. Truth.
Yeah. Turns the they even like break it down like angels, centaurs, demons, devils. Turns out they're two separate things entirely. Dragons, fairies, firebird, mythical bird, ghost and ghouls. Turns out ghouls really are different.
I feel
Don't
like
know what that word is.
you're just reading like the D&D monster manual right now.
Funny enough, there's also phoenix, mythical bird, and firebird. Apparently, two different things.
Really? That kind of surprises me. I mean, so
Yeah.
Firebird isn't Firebird a little bit more of like a Native American style?
Probably. You know what? I'm not even going to say that because I do not know.
Yeah.
I am ignorant.
That's fair. That's
You know what I am going to find? I am going to read that though because that was one of my questions. I had a subject point we talked about. I was like, what inspires certain ideas we have? And I think one of my favorite, kind of jumping off that. Oh, hi, my name's Jake. I'm a dev at Parlor. We didn't do an introduction at all. I don't think.
Who are we?
I don't know.
Hi y'all. I'm Daniel. Daniel at Parlor. I designed Retroscape. I have this cool shirt. It says Retroscape down here.
I need to.
I can't.
I need to get mine.
Um.
Mine's in a box.
Uh. Also, like last week, we released the new playtest book, which I'm super excited about. I don't have one yet. It's on order. There's probably like at least one person in this chat right now who also has a book on order. Eric, thank you for the order. And oh yeah, also Jake. Jake's in this chat. He has more than one book on order, like a whole box of them.
I got a whole box, but that's also because I have people in Kansas City that probably want to buy them. So,
Ooh, if you sell the books, we can make more money to buy more art.
Yes.
Or pay.
You know what else?
Jake, I don't know. But probably not.
No. I mean, to be fair, eventually, yeah, we should. We'll talk. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But you know what else we get helps us get more art? Our Patreon.
Oh.
I don't remember how much we're up to right now, but I know hey, to be fair, we are doing our dev chats regularly now that we talked about.
We are.
Just they happen to be inadvertent because of unforeseen circumstances.
That's true. That's true.
Yes.
But, they're happening. We posted an adventure last month. We have another one that we're about to post.
Which one's coming up next?
It's that other one that I haven't edited yet that you wrote last month.
I wrote like 5.
You did write 5.
I wrote like 5 of them like on Monday, right before the stream, and then I told you, hey, these are done, and then you went, we have stream tomorrow.
We launched is it Teach a Fish to Bite?
Yes, Teach Fish to Bite. I think that's the one that just came out.
Yes, that's the one that just launched. And then honestly, I haven't edited it, so I can't tell you what the other one is yet.
That's fair.
It's a mystery.
It might be my dinosaur laser battle ape one because I made cybernetic dinosaurs and battle apes. Don't you judge me.
That is so like pulpy.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. That's great.
Have you seen the cover?
So that's I keep fighting with myself right now because so this is something I was thinking about was like we're talking about monsters right now, but actually one of the things I want soon is more like interesting NPCs and NPC combatants and like better NPC battles. Because I feel like when I go to run a game, like that's often the thing that my brain when I'm building a campaign is a little bit more of a like cyberpunk style game. You're more likely to end up in a a seedy tech speakeasy, fighting against people who are spreading doomsday devices or trying to, whatever. You know the stories. I apparently don't. But like, yeah, I often find that like 3 out of 4 of my fights are gonna be against a humanoid, and then there's gonna be a quarter that are against like a monster. You know, where the humanoids release a monster in the city, or the monster invades the city, or you know, there's a lot of stuff like that.
I do like the what Eric's talking about, like what you guys did for Tephra of eventually doing like a book of NPCs and whatnot. Probably just do a digital copy of it if we ever did something like that. But I
really like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'll trust NPCs are one of the things that's actually one of the things on my list. Because I realize I run a lot of monsters because the monsters are the ones I'm always worried about balancing, and then I have you guys fight like bandits, and you guys actually have pretty even fights, but all I have is bandits to throw against you. Because
well, it's like our X Ascent. The X Ascent stat block shows up all the time in our adventures and test games. It is a great stat block, but
I need to make more.
It's overused. Yeah.
To be fair, I did some of the ones that we have come up with, at least that I've been working with more, trying to. The Ruiners, which I think used to be called the Ravagers, and I didn't really like the name, but I liked the new idea I had with them of changing either people. The kind of lore we have set up there is basically they're people that either just straight up got rid of technology and have just sworn it off entirely, or they're primitive beings that maybe got woken up during the War of Eden, and kind of a mixture of the two. But they hate technology in the same way that Delphi loves it, where they will actually go out of their way to break technology, things like that. So you might even see, and this is something I kind of want to play with, and I have an adventure idea for. I really want to make Ruiners attack an Iron Giant. Like, the players just come across this battle and have to decide whether to help the Ruiners or the ghouls and the Iron Giant, and then deal with the outcome.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that, or they accidentally activate the Iron Giant after they take it down, and suddenly there's a nuke about to go off, because that also just sounds kind of cool.
Yes.
I think, yeah, who else do we have? We have the Tech Bootleggers, which kind of goes with the X Ascent. Though that one I do want to figure out, like, what's the difference between a Dissenter and an X Ascent and a Tech Bootlegger who got Ascent stuff? Like, is there a difference, or are they more or less the same?
Yep. No, I really, and X Ascent has so much
lore.
There's a lot of lore I want to play with. So much lore.
Yeah, which, to be fair, that's also something that we have, I'll admit, we have talked about and have not gotten to implement yet. What other bad, quote-unquote, bad NPCs look like in other labs. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't just have to be like, oh, I used to be a part of this lab, now I'm against you. It could literally be, hey, we're in the same lab. I don't like what you're doing. You're kind of going against me. I have plans. I'm going to try and take you out. Like, stuff like that, because that would build up some more RP stuff as well. I want to play with that some more. But like Anatomics, we have some ideas, although they're changing, so those ideas will probably change too.
Well, and also getting some, like, even not just like lab members who have gone bad, but also like various minor labs or exiled labs, or I think more importantly, like just the tech bootleggers who are out there in the world scavenging for tech, and someone gets a little, you know, a glove that creates black holes, and now you have, you know, the black hole bandits. That's what I'm gonna call them.
All right. Of like singularity bandits or gang or something. But then also we do still have to figure out like what happens if you're using tech that you're not trained in, because that, more from the dev side and the narrator side of my brain, if we can't justify it, then people are going to go, well, why can't I multi-lab?
Well, so most of our labs do have kind of a built-in, like, they must have this done to them, right? Like, the facet has to have, like, their own mutations done. Anatomics has to have the organ inside of them that produces the bacteria and the worms. Core Plus has to have the armatures built in. So all that stuff is, I think, it's like largely built into the labs. With largely,
I want to make sure the lore is more spread out on that too, though.
Right, and with the exception of Tribe, and Tribe is the lab that has to intensely defend their stuff because they don't want it stolen, which is, you know,
which that's true. It does kind of open that up to him. I think we could even make it where Tribe, not to like go too much into. I mean, we could. Oh god, what if Tribe had like? We were going to talk about monsters. Now I have an idea for Tribe.
We're talking about monsters, but in a weird way. I like it.
Right. So what if Tribe? It wasn't just this. Like the suit is yes, but what if it was kind of? You ever play Halo?
Did I ever play Halo? Yes, I have played Halo.
Okay, so kind of go that style where they had to do enhancements to allow the suit to work for them. So what if it could be minor things like that? Like what if there are just enhancements that allow the suit to work better and for you and protect you? And if you don't have those, the suit doesn't function as well. It would still let people use them, but they like have more of a risk to burn out. They don't know like how to properly set up things like that, maybe.
Yeah, I like that.
What else do we have? I also still want to play with the breakers more because those are the ones I'm the most excited to use, but I don't know how to get them to work properly because I don't know how to turn off a lab's powers.
Yeah, and I think that's something I'm also struggling with. I understand.
Right. And I mean, the idea I kind of had was I like maybe literally making one for each lab where like this is the type of breaker that is outfitted for Ascent, and this is who's outfitted for Anatomics. But then the idea kind of with that Tribe thing is what if labs broke down into certain things like biological / organic changes, like with Facet and Anatomics, Ascent, maybe Network. Before, I don't know what Timekeepers would be. Timekeepers might even fit there, actually, technically. And then like the other side was cybernetic or machine enhanced in some way, like Core Plus, Tribe, if they do the cybernetic, like they have small enhancements. Network, Neurogrind's who I meant, not Network, but Neurogrind maybe, and that one could go back and forth. But then you could, if Network went to that side, I'd switch Timekeepers over to they have tech, physical tech. I don't know.
Yeah,
something like that. Just to that way, also we don't have to make like 9 different breakers and then one for every minor lab that exists.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. I think kind of being able to correctly identify a lab's lab ability is good. I also just think that like if we can figure out how to tag abilities as say certain tech types, right? Where like it might be that Timekeepers have a huge advantage against breakers. Because it could be that the Timekeeper technology is so like weird and alien that the breaker tech doesn't work on it.
Well, the thing is, we have 3 categories for monsters, so we could make that just like that, where it's organic, cybernetic, alien. At that point, you have 3. You have 3 classes of breakers that can exist. Those who focus on the cybernetic problems, the organic problems, and the aliens. So you could even have Depot in the alien side.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, and like... Okay, I love this idea. Because, yeah, Anatomics and Ascent are clearly the primarily organic. And then we have, like, Core Plus. Wow, Facet's weird. Oh, Facet's alien. Totally super alien. That shit.
Yeah, probably, because they'd be radiation stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that is really fun. All we have to do is label literally every ability or weapon or item in the entire game.
Yeah.
With these things. with these tags.
Which, to be fair, we joked about doing that because we played Starfinder a couple times with Dee and Kristen. And honestly, now seeing that isn't the worst thing with this layout, because I've been actually going through monsters and defining what is the difference between a robot, a cyborg, organic, alien, label labs. Yeah.
Well, and the label labs idea I like, but I do worry that, especially with the depot, right? Like,
yeah, some labs will have different, probably have a split in some cases.
yeah. So Tad is mostly cybernetic and his stuff. But
see, I'd even say he's also like alien because
that's
of
exactly
like
what I was gonna say.
yeah.
His first level, he took the Rifter specialty. That's an alien ability, right?
Yeah.
Now he is largely unrigged.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Which we could just say that like it could turn him from being one into alien.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But we could also, like, if we do that, that also means we could theoretically make weapon upgrades and item upgrades that can be put on certain things like that. So you might be able to take an upgrade that normally goes on like a gun and actually put it onto your depot rig in some way to like boost the power of things. I don't know for sure. That was an idea that popped in my head.
No, I'm in love with it. This is such a fun idea.
I'm writing down the labs real quick because I actually want to like see if I can figure this out. Like a general rule, everyone will be different. Like I mean, even a scent is obviously going to be mostly organic, but they would have like the stun batons and the pellet pistols and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It does make me wonder, like, if we should reevaluate our word usage. I think alien actually does make sense.
Yeah.
But like, primarily organic versus like primarily anatomical, and then like.
Yeah, but anatomics is a word that we use, so that might get confusing.
I totally agree.
Primarily, I'll say is I kind of, at least with the monsters, what I've kind of been doing is if it's primarily organic, if it doesn't say it's not, assume it is. Because that's just kind of what you should do, I feel like, in the real world. Is that unless someone tells you that's a cyborg, you should probably just assume the barista's a person.
Yeah,
but then, like, the cyborg and robot, which still fall under, they're both cybernetic. It's just that robot gets other things, like they're immune to suffocation, things like that. Which we could also, if we do that, we could more easily define abilities, like with network, like eventually network could affect robots, not just people.
So Brennan's saying that we should label labs and just note deviants. And I think that's the right way to go, where like we just note like, yeah, Depot is primarily cybernetic.
Yeah.
And then in specific abilities we would note, you know, hey, this ability in particular is primarily alien and won't be affected by things that would normally affect primarily cybernetic.
Right.
And then that way, like, you know, in the next version of the book, when I release an EMP pulse, which I really want EMP pulse weapon technology, it's like, oh, that's super easy. That affects primarily cybernetic. Done. Easy.
I like that. All right, so hang on. So I got Anatomics Ascent as organic. That makes sense. Core Plus and Neurogrind is cybernetic. Now, here's the thing. We have 9 labs.
And I bet 7 of them will be cybernetic.
I mean, I feel like we could tweak it, because here's why. I feel like if we put Timekeepers, Facet, and Depot in Alien, we could then put Tribe in Cybernetic if we go with this idea that they enhance people a little bit to like make them into cybernetic ninjas almost. Not quite, but you know what I mean. Then we put Network, because of what we're doing with them, into Organic.
Oh, wow.
That would give us 3 and 3 and 3.
So I don't think we need balance. I think in this instance, like... So I definitely think that Tribe is cybernetic, because it's gear. Most of their stuff is gear-based. I think we're going to have to finish our network rewrite before I fully determine that one.
That's fair.
But I do think that, like, you know, if a the primarily cybernetic breaker is going to be the most powerful one and the most common one. And when fighting a primarily cybernetic breaker, the labs that are alien or organic are going to be that's going to be their time to shine.
Yeah, I definitely want to make sure we have like a good balance on that stuff. But
yeah. Well, I mean, already even
like,
they're not. Yeah. They're pretty well balanced and spread out, which I like quite a bit. But
so facet, you think that's alien or is that organic?
I actually think that is alien.
Alien, okay.
The facet shard technology with the, I mean,
yeah,
they're inhabited by like ghost painters.
Wait, what? Oh, right. Okay. What? I forgot that was part of the lore.
I mean,
technically it is, but like it's explained better in the lore, I feel like.
Yes, that is true. No, I'm just gonna drop that there. If you want to be inhabited by a ghost painter, play Facet. That's
makes a performer in general, I feel like. Depot, you thinking tech or alien?
I think that they start off tech.
Okay.
I can see an argument for them going cybernetic, and I could also see an argument for like, at some point if you take the void creature like pathway, eventually all of your abilities become like primarily alien. But
well, because I guess like the question I have for that is, if for example you are one of those void, let's use just Seth as an example, which would be voidish. Would that be alien what they do, technically? When they pop into their own void?
Yeah. Well, and you're right. So, like, as a depot operative, I do have the innate ability to, like, download things without pulling open my rig.
Right.
The rig is only really used for singularities.
Right. And theoretically, it's more like the rig is there to... I still think...
I agree.
Yeah. I think the rig is there more to let you calculate easier than it is to actually do the things.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is where that can come into play where like why someone can't just use a depot rig without knowing it, because you might go, I know what I want to do. Like, let's say like Joe Schmo picks it up and goes, I really want to make a flaming sword. So he knows that, and with the computer, he can kind of like figure out, like he can type that in and kind of figure it out, but doesn't know how to balance it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
No, you have converted me completely, actually. I think Depot is primarily alien.
Okay, then yeah, network's the only one that's not listed yet in general, so we'll figure that out later. Either way, though, I actually like that a lot. Oh, wait, Deviant. I want to make sure I write that down. Deviant for the outliers. That's a good... I like that word, Deviant, on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ghost painters.
Eric asks if the new tribe if their suit allows for something like melding into solid matter. Currently, no. Facet has some fusion stuff like that.
Yeah, which I know that's something we've like gone back and forth. I can't say argue. We both have the same thoughts back and forth of like how to make tribe not just I shoot fire or I go through things. But I do wonder if that's something they should also get, because I don't know what lack of like high friction makes heat, but how does cold work? I still don't know.
Well, if they are speeding up and slowing down particles, that's a whole new like level of intensity. I say that because if they're slowing down particles, then that's what's going to create cold, and I wouldn't give that to them based on their current setup.
Yeah.
I am on board with them having ways of like stopping people. I want to use the word freeze, but it's actually stopping people by increasing the friction coefficient so high in their own body that they have a hard time moving.
Yeah.
But them actually being able to meld into solid matter, like, is 100% a facet thing in my brain. and I really don't want to steal from.
What about running through it?
I just don't see how that would, like, they're not particle manipulators on a basic level. So the way that I think of them is that their suit is, for the most part, allowing them to create a high friction or a low friction field. And when I say field, like, to a certain degree, I'm almost imagining like a gel substance that's not actually there. It's a field, because it's a field. But if you imagine it as a substance that is actually present, no matter how thin that substance is, it helps me kind of better understand how to design for them. So they would be able to walk up a wall, run up a wall. They can coat a low friction liquid onto their sword and cut through the wall.
Okay, but here's my question with that. Why? Why can they shoot through a brick wall easier, but they can't run through a brick wall?
Because they're literally shooting through the wall.
Okay.
It's not the bullet is passing through the wall. It is the bullet is creating a hole in the wall. They're shooting through the wall. So, like, I'm fine with us creating a cool ability where they can use their sword and cut through the wall and run through the wall.
Okay.
But they're not facet. They're not phasing through the wall.
Right.
They're not decreasing friction to such a degree that they can squeeze through the particles of the wall.
Okay. Yeah, they're definitely a cybernetic thing, because that also, I think, turns into technology is on their side with that kind of stuff, because theoretically, I mean, a bullet, when it hits, yeah, the penetrating power slows down because it's hitting things. So if it can reduce the friction of it, it will still be able to keep pushing forward. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Okay, that makes more sense. That was something I always questioned on that, because my brain I couldn't figure out, like, the difference. So really, it's not that they're just phasing. It's going through the wall, but it's literally putting a hole in the wall too.
Right. Yeah, and that is the hard
what you just typed.
Yeah, facet. I go through the wall. Tribe. I also go through the wall, but I leave a hole doing so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what Brennan just said. Oh my god, Brennan and you were ahead of me.
Yeah. No, I think that's, like, facet is decently non-destructive in a lot of the stuff that they do. I mean, they pass through objects and then they bend light.
Oh, Facet. I thought you said Tribe. My brother was like, really? Tribe? They're like Batman.
Yeah. Tribe is highly destructive in the things that they do. Yeah.
They're just precision destruction.
Yeah, precision destruction. Yeah.
I mean, that's what they claim.
Like a nuke.
I feel like that's I think a sense a nuke.
I think Depot's the nuke. But
no, Tad's a nuke. Depot's not like that. Just Tad.
What? No, Tad is like the ultimate Depot. That's how I'm
I mean, you're not wrong, that's what scares me about Depot so much. I don't think people have read too much of part of Depot's lore, where I don't know if it's out yet. About the fact that it's literally the youngest lab in terms of the people that work there, not in terms of how long it's been there.
Yeah, it's actually one of the original founding labs.
It's one of the three, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Ascent, Depot, and Network are the three founding.
No, actually, Black Data, I think, was the third one.
What? I don't know. I'm going by the timeline chart, and that could be wrong.
Okay, yeah, no. So I think, I thought.
Did Black Data still? I thought Black Data was gone at this point. So
Network took over Black Data,
and
ate them. It might be Zero Data. I've changed that name a couple times.
We'll go back and check. But yeah, we can go back to Monsters.
Yeah, now I'm Monsters. Yeah, Monsters, aka Network.
Yes. Nashers. Oh yeah. That's right, because the end of the stream, I joked about having flying Nashers.
What? No.
What? Yeah, that was the end of the stream. I think I joked about that.
That sounds bad. I don't want that.
Well, that's a shame.
Where? Oh.
Like, are you looking for the timeline?
Well, I'm actually... Oh, there it is. Oh, it's Zero Data. Zero Data, I did rename it.
Yeah. Oh, head crabs are from Half-Life. They're like nasty little creatures that like jump and latch on your head, and then they turn you into a infected or something like that. Those are not ours. Those are from Half-Life video game. But Nashers are ours. Oh god, wait a minute.
I'm gonna open the timeline. This is something that no one's seen outside of Jake and I.
Whoa.
No, I have the timeline pulled up, which I think is really exciting.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm super curious now. Like, anatomics before the war creates life parasites. That's exciting.
That's unreleased lore.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. We'll let people take screenshots and share it in the dark, dark future.
I mean, it's fair.
Oh, wow. No, actually, yeah, this is talking about the Core Plus founder.
Yeah.
Sorry, the father of the Core Plus founder. That's fun stuff.
Yeah, a bunch of weird stuff.
I love this event. Eloy DuPont absorbs Paris.
Yeah, we really got to like expand on that.
No, I think that's all I want there. That's
that monsters eating momentum. Hell yeah, I have Time Wraith. I think Time Wraiths are gonna do that. Did I make those? Sorry, I'm now excited. I'm reading the chat again. Yeah, the monsters eat momentum is something I've been playing around with. We've talked about, like, I think since we figured out we wanted to keep momentum, we've talked about how to make something that destroys it. And I think I have 3 things that can do it. I can't remember if the cockatrice, the adult one, can do it or not. But I made some creature. Cyclops. The Cycloptics can. That's who can steal momentum.
You were 100% correct, though. Timekeepers were the third founding lab.
Cool.
Ascent Depot and Timekeepers.
Nice. I thought Timekeepers would last for some reason. I thought it was Network.
No.
The Core Plus is last.
Kagome was around at that point, but Kagome
she was around.
Started the lab. Yeah.
Yeah, she was around, but she was basically going to become the next Oracle. That's right.
Well, yeah. So once the Oracle left, Kagome went on to become the mayor.
Right. We have really got to write that out. Like, that's written. A good Patreon post.
No, that is all written. I think that's in the.
Is it?
It's in Network's backstory.
That's fair. Let me rephrase that. We should compile all the lore.
That's true. But yeah, no. So yeah, she went on to become mayor, and she was the mayor for like 10, 15, 20 years. I don't remember exactly. And it was during that time that her powers began to manifest, and Network was built around her.
Interesting. Okay, where is it? Glare. Yes, the Cycloptics, Cyclops and Eyebot can take away momentum. That's what I was thinking of. The Time Wraith does not. I should make the Time Wraith do something like that. That makes sense to me. Yeah, Network's a lab. There's lots of good lore in there that needs to get refined just so we make sure it's all on the same page. We got a lot of good ideas. They're lit scattered right now.
Yeah. No, Network's lore is some of the best lore, I think, in terms of like city building. But it is funny how just in the last week, like, our conversations about Network are going to totally change Network, and I'm super insanely excited about it.
I mean, yeah, it's good. It's not going to change the lore. It'll just change the.
Well, what it's gonna do, I think, is like, this is gonna sound dumb. A lot of the lore for Network is kind of old, but like when I say old, it means like it all happened over 20 years ago. Yeah. And all of that lore is gonna be 100% the same. Like, that's not changing at all.
Yeah.
It is what Network has done in the last 20 years and how Network has evolved and what they've done with their tech.
Okay.
That
I
I
like
think
that.
is going to like really change. And that
I think that also makes it so it feels like
so
why they're that's a
excited.
good growth for them.
Yeah, no, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so
Yeah.
good. They're going to have
Uh,
telekinetic powers. So,
yep.
yeah.
For
Spoiler.
those, yeah, spoiler, screw it. For those who either played 3.5 and loved psionics, boy oh boy, hopefully we'll do as good at that, but not make it broken.
That is a weird plug. I feel like it's more like for anybody who's ever played like any sci-fi game that has mental powers. That's really what I want.
Eric asked a good question.
You should answer that. I have to be right back.
Okay. So there once was, and now there's not. That's the basic story, but here's the rest of it. Network, we actually talked about having Colony be connected to network. And then we decided to instead have Anatomics connected to it. Anatomics, specifically the founders of Anatomics, basically became vampire people, and they were just trying to control the world. And this is before the War of Eden. Then War of Eden takes place. Worms, they create those worms, parasites, to go and feed to let them live forever. Eventually, they wake up. There's a civil war between all the founders of all the organization that would become Anatomics. A civil war. Half of them die. 7 of them, I think it's 7, run off into the wilderness to go be vampire lords. The equivalent of, really, they're all like crazy revenant psychos. And then 3 of them went on to eventually form Anatomics to kind of repent for what they did. But that said, we kind of have it connected that the ones who went off and went crazy may have become Colony, or those that just went off may have become Colony by upgrading over time into insectoid creatures, since Anatomics was all about evolving into the next step. Yep. I don't know if Colony spies are still in network. I know we had that. It might still be. To be fair, there's certain labs lore that I do not remember that well. Yes. Yeah, some of the... I don't know if it's going to stick around with them controlling things that aren't a part of the colony, but they'd be able to control Colony kind of like... if you look at the live doc now, you should be able to see... There's Colony, and we have 2 high-ranking Colony members. We have the Duke of Blades, and we have the Duchess of Symphony. And they both kind of have some abilities, like they can telepathically control other Colony members. Yeah, it probably is. Brendan, you're probably... It is, I'm sure. That's one of... I think it might move at some point. I don't know if it is or not. We'll ask Daniel when he gets back. Sorry, now I'll say it again. We'll ask Daniel when he gets back.
Oh, that sounds like a good plan.
Are Colony spies still inside network if their colony is going to be connected to Anatomics instead now?
That's a great question.
Cool, because apparently the origin specialty is still in the playtest book.
Yes, and I think that it will remain there. So here's my thought process. The Colony Duke. One, I want to change the Colony Duke a little bit, because I think that what I want the Duke to be a human that became a member of the colony. And therefore their bodies are still mostly humanoid, but they have like a certain connection to the colony.
Mm-hmm.
Now that connection, then it gives them like the telepathic connection to the colony and allows them to blend seamlessly into network as a lab.
Oh, gotcha. I would say maybe and then they'll change the... not to call them a Duke, only because... and granted, only because most of the dukes I plan out, and the duchesses I plan out are meant to be like high level creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Which, granted, I could make some lower level ones maybe. Um, but if we want to, I don't know, just because the dukes and duchess tend to be like are like the high ranking members of the colony, so. And them not having super crazy powers like the other ones have, I don't know if it fits well,
Yeah, that makes
lore
sense.
wise.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think when I had originally imagined the Dukes, like all the Dukes were this kind of like human looking one.
Hmm.
But switching them over to another title name, that's not very difficult.
Yeah. Yes, we are going to spec out the queen. That was kind of one of the end goals for this book, but then we realized putting all the monsters in the book was not going to be worth the time and effort, so we can update them regularly. As for when, I don't entirely know. I kind of want to play. I'm still playtesting some of the lower level ones, just so I don't have to rebuild more monsters than I already did.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's up, Veronica? That my friend. They run D&D games for me.
Oh,
And I run
really?
D&D games. Yeah,
I
that's
didn't know
me
that.
and yeah. They running a pirate game, and I'm running a villain game where they're all bad guys.
A pirate game? You know what I want? I want to run a Retroscape pirate game, like a
I'm in.
Sky Pirate style
I'm in.
uh, Retroscape game. Maybe like specifically. Oh man, wouldn't it be great to like run one where like the actual villain is the Order of Turbulence, and like
That's pretty
they
cool, actually. Yeah.
like you just have like this whole opening scene where the Order of Turbulence betrays um the I forget the name of the company that they are um
Yeah, I don't
sworn to
remember.
protect, like
Yes.
contractually
Do
protected,
it.
and like you just have like this huge scene. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna talk about this anymore because I like this adventure
You're
idea.
good. I mean, to be fair, when New Frontier's over, I have another in the city idea campaign for you all if I run again or if
Ooh.
you run or whatever. Just because I do want to play around more in city stuff, but uh, yeah, the queen I want to add. I want to make the queen kind of terrifying. The queen is almost. I feel like the queen might mirror or at least take some inspiration from what I did with the mature Earthhog, where it can make colony members, and it might make like pretty low level colony soldiers that just like can attack in the middle of the fight, so people have to deal with constant new weaker creatures coming in while still fighting the queen. Um, yeah, I'm not sure because I feel like that's. I always found like in role playing games, whenever it was like the big boss battle, like not like this is the villain, whenever it's like this is the ultimate end of our adventure, our triumph is nigh, otherwise we die. They were always so hard to like keep that pace in the way you wanted. So I really want to do that with the queen.
Mm-hmm.
And like Echo, and I, th- I'm trying to think other. What are some other big bads we need to do?
Can I actually derail for a moment because I am having a lore spasm.
Sure.
Um, and anyone who watches this is probably gonna get. It's wild. Okay, so like here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna go deep end real quick. So, Anatomics was pre-war. They created the worms, right? That allowed this evil organization, I think I call them the River of Fire, to survive the apocalypse. Now, that group all had the worms in them when the apocalypse occurred, and the survivors became the original queens of the colony. Uh, Now, because had worms in them, but those worms specifically grew to be, yeah, what they are now. But those worms are keeping them for like immortal. It also drastically enhanced their telepathic abilities, and now they are able to run the colonies, right? Um, Now let's switch over to Kagome. The Oracle chose Kagome to run Delphi. Kagome didn't know about her own telepathic abilities. What if Kagome was had a one of these pre-war worms in her?
Okay.
Like, what if she was the daughter of that original founder of Anatomics that created the worms? And so Kagome herself is actually a colony queen. Has all the other facets of the colony queen, except just doesn't look like them. Still has her human form, but has all the abilities of an Anatomics in the terms of like, this like semi-immortality and.
So where did the psychic powers come into play then?
So my belief is that Anatomics already has a certain level of psychic power in terms of their the empathy or the pheromones that they use to control the worms and the bacteria that they release.
Mm-hmm.
Now that is like directly linked to the way that Colony works and interacts.
See, I always kind of picture it like a starfish, how a starfish can still... People think that starfish can still feel their other arm when it gets cut off, or they can grow a new one. That's why they can still control it and see through a worm that their friend has. Because then also, we don't have to do that. Well, it's a vacuum in space. How can their worms work?
Right.
Yeah.
So the way
could go inside with that, then.
So the way that I kind of see the lore splintering off is that, like, before the war, the founder of Anatomics was working with the River of Fire, but also the other group of good doctors. And the actual, like, worm organs that were created for these two different groups were similar but different.
Okay.
So the River of Fire group, their worm allowed them, like, had a little bit larger focus and mutating their own body to become more insectoid, and that's how they started the colony.
Okay.
And then the Anatomics group, I mean, they became Anatomics. They have the bacteria, right, the Anatomics Revenant, all that jazz, right?
Okay.
But yeah, so it's effectively like two very different iterations on the same base bug, if you will.
I can see that. I wonder if that puts too much lore on that one thing. Specifically, again, like how do you get from like
so the way that I thought that was going then is like, so the way that I want to push Network is like Network took that kind of like basic telepathy for the colony and is now like pushing the edges of that. So, we kind of like talking about, mental enhancement, really advanced telepathy, memory alteration, all those things are things that the colony and Anatomics, like, none of them can do that.
Right.
They have like very basic low-level starfish style control, which I like that description.
Yeah.
But Network is a focus group on that specific thing. And now what we basically have is this concept of like, Anatomics was effectively like the original lab, like the super original lab. And the event that happened at the beginning of the timeline that caused the two fracture groups between the colony and Anatomics later also create another splinter that would
that's where I think Network. It gets convoluted a little bit because it turns into like splitting.
Yeah.
But I think there's we can still do that to a degree. I think instead of it being like that one guy worked on both groups and then whatever happened to him happened, because at that point we have another evil dad, which I mean, I'm okay with,
no,
but I kind of
the original Doctor was super good and was blackmailed into working with the River of Fire.
that's fair.
And helped all
I
these
don't know,
other doctors
I,
trying to prevent it.
that's fair. I still love just the idea of Kagome just being this
Freak,
like
unrelated.
I don't even say freak, just like this young girl that just showed up and had psychic powers, and the Oracle was like, because Oracle, if you, I don't know how much the lore is out about Oracle, where the Oracle, is it officially said that Oracle is?
This is not official, but feel free to say it out loud because
Okay,
think it's wonderful.
Oracle's a timekeeper. Technically, timekeepers are around first, quote unquote. It's weird. Oracle's a timekeeper and lived through the apocalypse dozens, if not hundreds of times, trying to get it right because they got experimented on and to become the first timekeeper. So eventually they got it right. The problem is, as soon as they got it right, they didn't get to. They couldn't keep resetting themselves, so they had to die. So they got it right. That worked out. But just this little orphan girl just showing up like, I have psychic powers and people go crazy around me, and her just like taking them in. I don't know why I love that.
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was thinking about was that the initial Anatomics Doctor, who Brennan correctly surmises as a woman, I'm wondering if Kagome could have been the daughter of the original Anatomics Doctor, who dies, and Kagome is now this like orphan young child with these weird abilities that no one understands.
Yeah, maybe. I could see it being if the organization was more about it was basically a evil version of Delphi where a bunch of scientists came together, or a selfish version, not evil, but selfish version of Delphi where a bunch of scientists came together and rich people and basically went, let's figure out how to survive the upcoming war, and just tried to like experiment on a bunch of people to like either boost them physically, mentally, whatever, and the different experiments kind of spliced off. Because if in that case, that could also explain why like the lycanthropy disease existed. If it was kind of like this, I don't want to, and that's the one thing I worry about, like making it like, if we make it the shadow organization is the reason the world ended, that takes away from the fact that I love the kind of lore we have where humanity is at fault for humanity's demise.
That's true.
And not just, oh, there were some bad guys and the Legion of Doom did it. I love the idea that it was literally humanity just unable to deal with its own existence.
Right.
Which we could use that with the idea of it being like organizations that came together to try and like figure it out, but also it was kind of like, it was like a science UN, but it was really a bunch of people trying to steal ideas from each other to help their country, which could have led to something like that, like the original Anatomics founders and those who would eventually become colony, and even those who would eventually lead to like a sense creation, and even Eloy's dad being there. Like things like that I think could be really useful, because that would leave a connection of why Oracle knew what was happening, because whatever group took her or found her and had her might have been a part of that. So that could kind of link those together, where it kind of is that weird, like she took the thing that destroyed the world or helped to destroy the world, didn't necessarily do it. It was the hubris that all those people did, and they went, oh, everything's ending, time to hit the bombs. But taking that idea where a bunch of great minds came together, and instead of helping the world, they just sped up the process, taking that idea of it and making Delphi into what it should have been with that organization. Because then you could have Kagome being the daughter of like one of those people who was trying to mess around with like telekinesis in some way, or telepathy. Why is it telekinesis and telepathy always sound different?
Yeah, like, no, because we switched that second E into an A on
that's what it is.
Telepathy.
But then you
Tilapia.
could, and that might explain why Colony has some of that inspiration from Anatomics, and even like that idea. And granted, I still in love with Anatomic. I'm still kind of in love with the original Colony lore. That was just like, it was very vague of just the Earth opened up and it said, "Fuck you, humanity." Just because it was, I think they were based on like the bugs will inherit the earth.
You know, it's I keep thinking about what the major publishers do when they are releasing a book like this. So, like, you know, because what would be smart for us as publishers is to say, "Oh yeah, the colony did this. That's our story. We're sticking to it." And then in like 3 years, we release a novel that like dives into this, and the big reveal at the end of the novel is like, "Oh no, we actually created the colony through our own mutation." All right, everyone, just delete this YouTube video. Just it's gonna get deleted, and we're gonna
Uh,
we're
yeah,
gonna write a
but that
novel.
also lets us get ideas of like what things grow. Plus, we can. So, I mean, let's just put stuff out, and I like the idea of like putting out the basic stuff, and like
Yeah.
even we talked about doing like a full dive one day of like making after when the books are done, like not to spoil things, but when books are actually done, like doing like player handbook 2, which is just all lab stuff of like, hey, here's a deeper dive into lab lore and like what's happening right now. Because I kind of like the idea of having like a here's what we, the developers, have for a 10-year timeline for Retroscape in the game of Retro, in the lore of Delphi. Like, what's happening over these 10 years with Ascent? Did they reclaim their glory? Were they able to become a lab? But then people being able to just use whatever lore they want. Yeah, we were going to do a monster creation stream, Brennan. I apologize for that. Yeah, Friday.
We are doing a monster creation stream.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Gremlins. We were going to talk about Gremlins for Greg.
I am very happy to talk about Gremlins for Greg.
Okay.
I feel like that's the name of a new charity, Gremlins for Greg.
Gremlins for Greg. I know, Brennan, but still, we at least have to talk a little bit about monsters more.
I mean, talking about network, that's kind of like talking about monsters, right?
All labs are monsters. We know that. Again, humanity killed humanity.
That's true.
That's the idea that I want to make sure always is there. Plus, if we keep going down that rabbit hole, we're never going to stop. Though I like the idea of if Kagome is connected to that, I think the idea of a bunch of organizations sorry, YouTube, if that hurt your ears. A bunch of organizations coming together. Turns out they didn't do what they were supposed to. They just kind of yelled at each other and took ideas from each other, and then all effed off. So yeah, maybe. See, now Brandon wants to go down the rabbit hole too. I mess with the tech.
Okay, so Gremlins. Let's talk about Gremlins.
Gremlins.
So. Okay.
Wait, I want to wait first because we said we talk about monsters also or inspiration. What inspired Gremlins?
What did inspire Gremlins?
What? That short from. Okay, what was it? There's something on the plane. There's something on the plane.
Snakes?
No, I think it's Twilight Zone where it's like a guy's on a plane and he opens the window and there's literally just a thing on the plane ripping things out of it.
Oh, so
yeah.
So like
yeah, cartoon version too, Bugs Bunny.
So like there is like an old like mythology around gremlins in that like gremlins were creatures that inhabited technology and would cause technology to misbehave or stop working. And so that's mythologically that's kind of where gremlins that's not where they come from, but that is like an interpretation of gremlins, like gremlins being in your tech, little gremlins. And honestly, like, we totally need little gremlins because I think that'd be really fun. Oh, or maybe like, God, like cybernetic gremlins, like actual like electric gremlins, like they live in your circuit boards. It's in my phone. I have a gremlin in my phone. I think that'd be really fun.
I mean, they could theoretically, I guess, right now their lore they have is that they can take technology and put it inside their body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they happen to get their hands on nanomachines, would the nanomachines turn their body into nanomachines?
Um, Gremlin asks. Brennan asks.
Brennan the Gremlin.
Brennan. Brennan asks, "What the f in setting are gremlins?" That's a great question, Brennan. In
Why are
setting,
gremlins? Yeah.
why that one I don't know. Uh, in setting, they are small humanoid creatures that their bodies are, they look organic, but their
They
bodies
technically are.
are mostly made out of um like cybernetic material, so that when they, I always imagine their muscles as being like cords, or it's their muscles would allow them to connect to actual cybernetic material. So
So yeah,
that,
I kind of evolved that a little bit only because I had monsters that already looked like corded muscles, and
fair.
I didn't want them to get confused. But I don't know if they are officially. Because are they technically cyborgs then, or robots, or are they organic?
Yeah, I think that's a hard question.
I think the kind of lore that we finalized ish on was that they were bio engineered creations of some kind that can interface with technology, but they're like I think we talked about it, they're like one of the most advanced things to ever exist, but they play pranks on each other and dismantle cars to build carousels. Um,
That's pretty exciting.
chaos technology demons. I feel like their original purpose might have been to be like maybe they were once humanoids or actual humans and were like someone splight was able to figure out how to make organic matter attached to technology, and the bombs dropped, radiation happened, weird things happened, and then that happened. Or if we go with cybernetic, maybe it's like some nano machines just messed up and then made themselves into a humanoid figure and then just forgot their nano machines.
I kind of like the idea of them being primarily cybernetic and having a, I don't know, like effectively like servers. I'll call them servers. Servers that are looking for the meaning of life and realize that there isn't one, and just to have fun. And, like,
I mean, yeah, because I can read you what we have for them. Their current lore is this: gremlins are organitech creatures that were created before the war. Their bodies resemble skin and bones in many ways, but their bodies are artificial, and their muscles are composed of thousands of small fibers that are able to quickly splice with objects. Their bodies resemble organic creatures, but they are able to fuse their bodies with mechanical objects. For this reason, you can find a gremlin who has patched a wound by inserting a computer monitor into it, or find a gremlin who entered a server room and over the course of several hungry weeks became entangled within the cables and equipment. Older gremlins often have a number of gadgets fused into their body that people can fuse with prosthesis or power armor. They are notoriously clever, far too clever for their own good. They have the brain power to dismantle and reassemble even the most advanced tech, but they lack the patience to put it back together the same way. They're notorious pranksters, and though to them fatal injuries are just part of the prank, they will stop at nothing to make themselves laugh. They're able to understand languages, mimicking and adding a spoken word to their vast supply of words. A gremlin can say a sentence as simple as "intruders, get them," and each word will be a different language, or perhaps even the same language, but a different accent and voice on each word. So I guess they are technically cybernetic right now. I just forgot to put the cybernetic stuff in them.
I actually almost want them to be generally like
Or
human-sized.
I mean, I can make them bigger than they are. They're small right now.
Well, so I almost wonder, like, if like from a backstory perspective, they should actually be humans
Okay.
that have made themselves mostly cybernetic.
I will say at that point we're getting into the troll territory, which would actually work because the trolls are just meant to be. This was a human, and it got something happened to it, and it's no longer a human,
I thought
but
the
it's
trolls
humanoid.
were a little bit more like organic mutant style.
Yeah. Well, they with the organic mutant ones, we have the swamp one, and we have one that I don't know if it. We have an old one that was in an adventure a while back, the Oni, which are just like they're iron. The iron in their blood just like thickened and made them metal, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we could follow along those lines, something like that. Although I don't know. Part of me, I still love the idea of just like some. I don't know why Gremlins always made me laugh where they didn't have a necessarily defined origin, which sounds bad to say for lore writing, but something. And granted, we have quite a few. Like the Nashers are like that, where they're just undefined.
Yeah,
But
there's something really lovely about the undefined origin.
yeah,
Uh,
which I think could be expanded. Like that also. I want to give it enough to like let people use the lore, but also I wanted to give it enough that narrators can make it what they want if they want to change it.
mm-hmm. I just think that we are currently like, yeah, I think the number of things that have an unexplained origin are outweighing the number of things that have an explained origin.
Too bad it's also you're figuring out our lore in some cases, but
Yeah.
I feel like a lot. I still one of our original ideas we haven't gotten to implement as much was the yokai style things,
Mm-hmm.
where it was kind of a catch-all term, but like I added cryptids, I put a yeti in there, and I want to put a few other things, but the things that people always saw in the shadows were always hiding, and maybe they just came out because humanity no longer was around, which honestly, that could be how we pull some interesting stuff out, even some of the weirder alien stuff of what if humanity's disbelief, if we're going with the idea of like that, kind of call back to that creature that like the more people see it, the more powerful it gets. What if humanity's disbelief in those things, but also the want of them to be there, kept them like away? Because people, if you saw a gremlin before the War of Eden running around, you probably would have freaked out.
Right.
Like people would have lost their mind. They'd be like, "What the hell's that?" Especially if it's like shoving a computer monitor into its chest. But now it's the War of Eden. A bunch of bad stuff happened. I mean, Depot literally opens up portals to other dimensions, technically.
It's true. They do.
It's like the sock stealing beast to explain missing socks. Yeah. I do.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like that's the myth stuff's inspired a lot of our creations because Delphi is inspired by Greek mythology.
Well, and I was trying to create. We have the janitors. It's an origin specialty for robots sent from the future back to the present.
I have no idea. Fair enough.
Um,
Surprisingly enough, I don't know everything that's in Retroscape book anymore.
Well, I went off on a weird origin writing tangent land.
Yeah, the rat people exist now.
Hey, the Vermids are great. They're one of my favorite characters was the Vermid.
Yeah.
But I think that doing stuff like that where like honestly I think the Gremlins could take that mantle where why are they so advanced? Why do they look organic when they're like purely cybernetic creatures? Well, what if they just start popping up in our timeline? Like they
just always existed.
They are the detritus of the future. The future is sending them back to us as the future's trash.
I feel like that would make the problem worse for them.
Well, not if the timelines separate.
I mean, I guess so, yeah. Brennan brings a great question. That actually leads into my next question for you, Daniel. Why rats? specifically wire rats.
Yeah, wire rats.
Wire rats. But that leads into my question of, I guess, more discussion that I kind of wanted to have. How does the world and Delphi deal with the things that happen? Because that's something I don't think we touch upon too much. That's something, you know what? I'm taking over this monster stream to deal with what does the world feel like when the monsters are around, or, you know, when the people that are protecting us from monsters could, in fact, possibly be monsters? You know, let's talk about that.
I think the world has a lot of struggles with that question as well.
Yeah, we still have to define that one. I feel like we can pull the gremlins. That's a mystery. I don't think we can do that with the city that you're in.
That's fair.
I will say, because as some people know, if I think we joked about it like last session, Max went on a tangent of like ideas for like how the Void Children are seen, things like that. We joked about like doing an interview thing, but like there was a whole organization that I think they made, and they asked if it would like, we started making lore for that, but things like non-human races that exist. Mm-hmm. The Vermid, for example, the Facet Ogres, because are those a thing right now?
Not at the moment, I don't believe.
Okay. If they become a thing again.
Right.
The ghouls.
Yeah.
How does, I guess let's start with Delphi. Delphi as a whole, and we can kind of go with the generic umbrella and then break it down a little bit, but
yeah.
How does Delphi feel about things like that, I guess?
Generally, I would say pretty negatively. I think that, like, when we're talking about a live stream, the, I don't want to call it racism, the anti-undeadism.
The prejudice.
Right, thank you, that's always the word. The prejudice against, DJ Hucky Ghoulie, our local ghoul DJ, I think is, I don't want to say fair and founded, but like, yeah, most ghouls are literally like undead war machines. Like, they are soldiers who were made in the war to keep fighting forever.
Yeah.
People being weirded out by that seems real fair to me.
Right. And I get that. I guess it's more of, not to compare the two, but the comparison, like, if we have that 1920s vibe, I don't want to be the 1920s in that regard, because,
That's true.
I don't want to be the 2020s in that regard.
Also true.
Yeah, because I feel like we need to like be a little bit ahead of the times in the book, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I understand that. I think what if I'm trying to figure that? What if it's almost, not Superman necessarily, but who's another? Maybe Wonder Woman might be wrong, but like Wonder Woman and like, to regard, like, they're clearly, like, you can see that they're clearly a person, and your prejudice might be there for that. Like, okay, you know that ghouls are generally bad. However, you see that this ghoul, like, maybe there's a prominent ghoul politician that exists. I think that'd be a fun thing, and that could also kind of lead into, like, they're trying to, like, define the rules better of things, because ghouls aren't dead. They're not undead either. They're just not aging anymore.
Right.
But in that regard, then you have like the Void Children that pop up, and those ones are super rare. I think we talked about, like, I think we said it's like 1 in every 10,000 depot operatives, and that's like, well, there's not that many depot operatives.
There's like 90 depot operatives in my head. Like,
right.
Yeah, no, I imagine that there are like 6 Void Children, like, in the world. Yeah, maybe.
But like in that regard, like, and Max had a great thing we were talking about, like, do they count as how do people, if someone in Delphi was told, hey, this is a being that came from the imagination of a depot operative, now you didn't add it's illegal, da, 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 like that kind of breakthrough. But he was like, this is a being that came into existence because of a Depot operative's experiment. They are a living, breathing, thinking creature. Are they what like? Are they considered a part of humanity? I guess we'll say. I feel like that's how you describe it: a part of humanity or a society, or a Delphinian.
So, from my perspective, I would think that any void child is going to have an intensely difficult time fitting into society.
Yeah.
Dealing with people. So the only thing that society as a whole really knows about fractured beasts,
right,
is that they started popping up in the last few years,
right,
and they're horrifying and terrible. Well,
yeah.
Now all of a sudden there is effectively a humanoid-looking fractured beast walking around Delphi.
Right.
That's kill on sight, right? Like now we're
and that's a weird thing. Then is like, how do you? I feel like then we need to also make sure we play up the fact that it's not that uncommon. I feel like mutations should be common enough where it's not weird for you to hide your face.
I agree. Yeah,
like that way, Constance fits in really well. Just Seth could fit in if they want to. And if they don't want to hide themselves, so what? Maybe they could even just play it off. Maybe of they decided they wanted to look like this because Delphi is Anatomics exists, Ascent exists, that and Core Plus exists. That means there is any modification you can think of,
right,
will probably exist. So, what if that's almost a thing where it's? I don't want to say it's like you're part of the alternative goth kids or like the punk kids, but you could use that to play it off of you decided you wanted to stand out, or you were part of an experiment because the labs aren't hidden,
right?
Like they're hidden like away, but like people know Depot exists. People know that if you see a kid with a laptop and suddenly there's a large flaming tentacle pops out, that's a Depot kid. We should probably get out of here,
right?
Or they stand there and cheer because your superheroes are running around right now. And I think that's the thing that I want to play with is the fact that what if there is like the three levels of citizens, the ones who are like labs are amazing, we love them, like you're fans of them. There's the other side, which are the labs are like super dangerous. Why do we let them exist?
Yes.
And then there's like everyone in between who's kind of like, oh, listen, I understand both sides right now. I just want to get to work, and as long as they keep me alive, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, and I think that second faction, in Delphi might be the minority.
Yeah.
But outside of Delphi, it's
maybe
like
a majority.
98% of people, right? Like,
right.
Everyone, you have a just Seth of Child of the Void walk in to a non-Delphi location, and they're just going to assume that you are a fractured beast, or you're a horrible pre-war, or during war. What's the mid-war? You're war tech.
Yeah.
Right. Like you are.
War of Eden remnants.
Yeah. You're a remnant. You're dangerous.
That's actually what I have. That is the definition for I have in the NPCs right now. Anything that's an NPC or NPC-like that is from the war era is a War of Eden remnant. So question on that, because we're talking about that. I didn't know this existed because I know what I was thinking about. Because I was thinking about the ogres. I think you renamed them to Groats.
Oh yes, the Groats.
Yeah. One, that's terrible. I like society, and see that's what I want to talk about. Like, has society evolved since the War of Eden in like accepting these things? I feel like they should have, because Ascent existed. Ascent was running around as monsters, and everyone cheered for them because they were the superheroes. Tribe hides their identity. Core Plus, like all this craziness. I feel like it's how Batman Beyond is to Batman, where Batman, people are free. Like when he starts out, everyone's scared of him, even citizens who are like, he's a hero, but seriously, that guy's terrifying. But Batman Beyond, everyone's like, Batman, yeah! Because he's a hero who's in this cybernetic craziness.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
No, I totally agree with you, and I think that is unfortunately like I don't want to say the difficulty of our setting,
yeah.
because talking about Delphi and talking about the rest of Earth,
And that's why I think I want to talk about Delphi first, and then the rest of the Earth.
So I think the way that you described it is really good. Like Delphi, 60 years ago, celebrated when Ascent became an official lab. And now everyone has grown up with Ascent posters on their walls, showing these awesome Ascent operatives. And yeah, in the last 10 years, that all went sour. That went south. We disbanded Ascent, officially. But the basics of the matter is that the majority of the Delphi population has grown up, understanding or with the belief that, yeah, different can be weird, but different is also keeping us safe.
And that's what I want to play up more in Delphi, and that's kind of what I feel like. I think that I want to do some more stuff on that because I really love the lore we have. I don't think we've delved into Delphi as a whole, like the inner workings of it, or even like the feel of it.
Right, I agree.
Because I know and granted, we've also gone back and forth. Like we went back at one point, we were like, labs are all illegal. No one talks about them. It was going to be like you're in the shadows, but I love what you just.
You just paused for me, and by paused I mean died.
In my head.
Jake, what? You just cut out for me. Can you say that again?
What part?
I love what you just said about Delphi.
Okay.
They used to be in the shadows, but yeah.
Yeah, so they used to be in the shadows, but I love what the thing you said about Delphi. That's like the defining moment for me, I think, that makes Delphi stand out to me in lore, because I love the idea of it being there are people who were, 10 years old when the war happened. They might technically still be alive, and they went through that entire arc of, watching Ascent grow to huge magnitudes, watching Tribe take over afterwards, but still, believing in Ascent because there was. I don't want to use I'm not going to use that term because it's a little bit salty right now. I was about to use bad apples. I'm like, yeah, no, never mind. That's just, they had their problems, but people still believed in them. The idea behind them, not necessarily Ascent as a whole, which is way too parallel of some things going on right now. I just realized. We predicted the future.
Great.
Yeah. Don't worry. Ascent will be better. Ascent's learning from their mistakes. Well, some of Ascent are. Some of them just accepted they're bad, and they went off to not be Ascent anymore. Oh. Which, that's the one thing. I think Ascent... I'm sorry, I'm going to tangent on that. I think Ascent is a lab that split in half after the split happened, which I know I said I hated that fracture thing, but what I mean is the ones who are like, no, we're going to be good, and the ones like, okay, we're going to be bad, but Betty's just like, listen, I'm using both of you, but you can go be a good guy, you can go be a bad guy. If you butt heads, I don't care. Just keep it under control.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I have often thought about Ascent having fractured into like 3 groups, really. Which I, in my brain, always think of like the good, the neutral, and the evil groups.
Yeah.
But it's really like the good Ascent, the criminal Ascent, and the Ascent that just left.
Yeah. You Inception. Yeah, you did Inception me, Brennan.
It's not the first time.
No, it's not. New Orleans. I'd say New Orleans totally part of it. I'd love that idea. And Eric, we tell you what happened to Vegas, but it all stays in Vegas, so we can't tell you. Sorry. I'm sorry. I had that one and I had to use it.
No, I really like the idea.
I actually, you know what I want to do with the community at some point? When we start getting things like more, like when we get a regular schedule, which is why I want to, like, it's one of the reasons I want the Patreon to build up so we can get a regular schedule for us. But going to the community and go, hey, tell us like where you live. Like it doesn't be like specific. Don't be specific, but like a city you grew up in or a city that you love. Like tell us what you think happened during the War of Eden.
Oh, that's fun.
Because then people can kind of build off stuff like what oh god, Agapriya, hamster. God, our friend that's in Hungary that's doing the Europe Delphi basically.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember your name right now. I'm so sorry, dude.
Agaric.
Yes, Agaric. That's what it was. They're doing that like that kind of idea. I love a lot. Mm-hmm. But what I was saying was I love what you said about how you said. I'm gonna have to go back and like quote that later because I like that idea of the Delphi as a whole is very much like if you live in Delphi and you've been here, if you were born in Delphi, you accept pretty much any weird thing that happens.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cool idea. Sorry, Vegas sunk into a black hole. Yeah.
So like
nothing.
The whole thing is a pun. It's just, I like it.
I mean, to be fair, what if Vegas was just full of semblances? Because that's what that house, that little adventure about the house full of semblances that are little like creatures that turn into objects.
Oh yeah.
I realize it sounds like we're talking about Ruby, but I'm
I definitely my brain went down Ruby. Yeah, you're right.
That's fine. Well, because I didn't want to say mimic because they technically absorb them.
Yeah, no.
And because we still can't figure out if mimic counts as D&D property or not, and it's just confusing. Yeah, which we gotta figure out. We'll figure that out later at some point, I'm sure. But what was it? Oh yeah, the idea that if you were born in Delphi and you grew up in this time, you're kind of just used to the weird things. Like you're used to watching a tribe member go running across a skyscraper while chasing someone on like a green goblin hoverboard. Mm-hmm. But if you're a new person that's come in, like that could also be something. If you're someone that's coming in, you might have those prejudices built into you of you're terrified of technology, but you had to come here because your settlement got destroyed or you got picked up by some lab operatives who brought you into Delphi. So you're a refugee who's getting like a new life here, but you're still freaked out by that stuff. Or you're someone who was out there and you got to hear the stories and you're that kid that wants to make it to Delphi because if you can make it to Delphi, then you can, join Ascent because you heard about Ascent before. Like the only thing you know about Delphi is Ascent's there. And you want to be part of Ascent because they're superheroes. But by the time you get there, they've already fallen. You still think they're superheroes. So you're seeing all this craziness and you're like asking people, hey, what about Ascent? And people are just like kind of blowing you off because you're crazy or like maybe they think you're making fun of them because maybe they lost someone or there was a recent Ascent attack. I want to make more of those little comic ideas up because I really like that stuff.
Yeah.
Mimic is not interesting. It's good to know. I'll have to check that for sure. But yeah, it makes sense that it's not because that'd be a hard word to copyright. Beholder makes sense to copyright because I think they have that one.
Yeah, they do have that one. Mm-hmm.
But Mimic is Mimic would be hard. I think Mimic is from like older times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I like that idea, and the world outside being like terrified technology and that weird balance of the two. So mm-hmm. I don't know. I want to write more Delphi lore, because I really like Delphi.
It's really interesting to me this idea that like a immigrant to Delphi would be more prejudiced against the different and the weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, to be fair, that's kind of what America is right now. If you, in the long timeline,
that's that's a weird. I don't disagree, but we're
300 years ago, people showed up and went, "Hey, get out!" And irony was lost on them.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, sorry. That was my Jake's had whiskey, and I didn't go as far as I could have.
Commentary on America right now is real. It's real.
Quick story. My friend who's in Japan read our lore a little bit. I was like sending him some lore just to like, hey, just check this out. And he read the little thing we have about one of the downfalls of the world at War of Eden, and what we kind of wrote about a country we may live in. And then, like, reading back it now, I'm like, oh wow, that was a lot funnier, and like that was creative like 4 years ago. Now it's like, oh, that's really terrifying.
Oh, it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
We apparently are in a lore chatting mood.
Hey, to be fair, that's why I put shenanigans on it. I never put what I was actually gonna do.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, dev chat shenanigans. But to be fair, we've done a lot of good lore. And to be fair, we did have some, like, we figured out the whole tag things with tech, possibly. I don't know why I do this, like, it'll show up. But
yeah, that's not showing up at all. Not good.
I know.
Not
it blew
good.
out entirely. Either way. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so going back to Greg's comment on Gremlins. All we've done is, like... I'm not gonna lie. I love the idea of Gremlins are just the detritus from the future.
I
really like
but why?
I know, but like, well, I don't know. And it may not be them. I just like the idea of a creature that is specifically referred to as the detritus of the future.
Now, see, that I'm okay with. I feel like we could make something like that.
One monster, right? It could just be like...
Yeah. We call it Tritus. I don't know what the reference is, to be fair.
No, that's not a reference. It's not good. But I like it. Yeah, no, so I think... Yeah, so in my opinion, kind of like... I think humanifying gremlins so they're not just like... I have a really hard time kind of defining why... I don't want to call them short races, but like... Gremlins and Vermids both fall into this, like, small humanoid realm.
Are Vermids small?
Yeah, they're small.
I had no idea.
Yep. And I have a hard time kind of defining why they are small in that way. So, like, I don't know. I like the idea of having a smaller race, but that, like, I almost want it to be a... You have such a face on you. What is going on?
I don't think I ever read what you wrote for the Vermids until just now, and I'm like, what? Because they fit... I don't want to say they fit close together, but the fact that they're apparently fiercely independent and business savvy, but also they can smell powerful technology, that feels like Gremlin to a degree.
Yeah, no, actually they are... let's just combine them. Just one race.
I mean, I'm okay with that if we want to... I mean, again...
We'll call them Grimmid.
We can just... Yeah, I will say, we could make... mutated, altered human, altered mutated being, where we just kind of do, like, take a bunch of mutations that exist and just go, hey, pick two or three, whatever we're normally do. Pick those. You are now a mutated human.
Oh, I like this a lot.
I mean, it'd be just taking our volcanic legend shifters, basically, or whatever we called them. Yes, gremlins. Yeah, I think... Actually, yeah, if we take the Vermids... All right, so... Wow. All right, let's actually talk about gremlins real quick. So we take Vermid, we pull them into gremlins, we take the rat-like features of the Vermid and go, cool, let's put this in a... Do you want to be a human that's mutated, or do you want to basically make your own race that exists? Here is a building block for you to play with.
Yeah. There
you go. And then the narrator has, like, all right, I want to make, like, maybe I want to make a settlement that's literally a bunch of... I don't know why my brain went to kangaroo. People that... kangaroo. Sure, kangaroo people. I don't know. Lupines. Lupine? Is that bunny? Lupines are bunny, right?
No.
What's a bunny? Lupin? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Rodent? I don't know. Either way, whatever.
Googling bunny people is not going to help me at all.
Nope,
I tried
that's
this.
not.
It's not good. No.
You shouldn't have done that. Anyway, should not have done that. So anyway, so basically, if you want to make something, like, you want to make a group people, whatever, easy. Gremlins. All right, so let's go with this. Let's decide this here. Are they organic, cybernetic, or a combination?
Organic.
Okay, they're organic. So they reproduce normally. Not that that's important, but just for reference. So they're organic, but they can. Do they splice technology into themselves and attach it, or is it like they're absorbing it, or what is it? Is it like, are they an outlet where they can just plug a piece of technology into them and it just works?
For gremlins, I say yes. I think.
Okay. If they have a wait, what's the thing? It's that video. It's like a toy that you can like play. Use fruit to play video games if you plug wires into it. I can't think. Okay. Okay. No. Besides that, but also, what's it? Surface. They sell tables now. Do you guys sell tables that? There's tables that get sold somewhere. That tables where you can just put your phone on it and it charges it through magnets or something.
Yeah. Like it. Yes.
I don't know what surface charging.
Surface charging works. Everyone knows what that is.
Yes, so surface charging. So what if that's what they're made of, an organic version of that, basically? So let me go from here. So what if gremlins originally were basically oozes or Play-Doh or some kind of just weird thing that was made as an organic, a growable wiring / charging surface, like things that could be molded to fit what you needed. Like, let's say you had a desk and you really wanted to like turn your entire desk into that chargeable surface, so you could just put whatever you wanted. So they made a material that you could do that with. Now, they wanted it to be adapted, but they wanted it to be adaptable. So they like gave it a small intelligence, but that grew because it was adaptable, and it kind of snowballed into making this like humanoid existence. I don't know why, but that charging capacity / technology like idea made it so they could, if I plug a chainsaw into my arm and I plug a battery into my side, the chainsaw can now be powered even though the battery's not touching it.
So I think about how you would use that in war.
Yes.
And so I'm imagining now, though, like you have a
living batteries.
Well, so you have these gremlins that you drop off in the middle of a battlefield, and all of the enemies. So, like, if you think about the automated tanks and the Iron Giants and stuff like that.
Yeah, war scraps.
The war scraps. Like, if you're fighting a country that uses a bunch of automated tanks and robots and stuff like that,
just drop a couple gremlins.
And you drop a couple gremlins in there.
Yeah.
Like, now those gremlins are going to go and they're going to hack that war tech.
Mm-hmm. What if it's not even they're hacking? What if it's literally they're just taking parts? Like, what just more so. I love the idea of gremlins like having their own tank, but it's like something they built after they took apart like 7 other tanks, and then they went, let's build one. And then they built like just a super tank, but it's very unstable. But I like it. I like that idea of like them almost being like, what if they were like a non-lethal alternative to fighting? Like, what if they were originally meant to be like hey, we made these things that can run into the battlefield, take apart weaponry, and then run away. So that way people didn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
What if that was kind of the idea, is that they were meant to be a peaceful thing? Like, it was a end-all be-all peace weapon where you could just drop them all over the world. They'd go take apart all the weapons, and then no one could do anything. Like, what if that was their original idea for them, and then that got twisted, of course, because...
I could see that being twisted, and I kind of like the idea of the creator being frustrated by that. I could also see them being dropped into, like, enemy territory and factories. Like, imagine gremlins just being like airdropped into an Omatech factory region.
Right.
Like,
Just decimating, like one gremlin just destroying one factory would just decimate things.
yeah. And I always imagine those Omatech factories as just being like ziggurat style, like
Mm-hmm.
massive, massive factories
Yeah.
that you just like.
What if? Okay. So, what if that is? What if that is actually why? Like, kind of like what Brandon just talked about. They and kind of the combination. Yeah. So they were made originally to be peaceful weapons, basically. And they split off, and they worked out really well, but they decayed over time, and they just like didn't. There wasn't anyone there around. What if you're playing a gremlin? What if you're one of the ones that didn't get corrupted?
Interesting.
Or you're someone that came across you didn't get corrupted, or you didn't get corrupted, or in like the gremlins that didn't have the hunger to keep going, they kind of just existed and grew up with humans over the 80 years, so then you could like, you know, you could be a half gremlin or something. Something that or the technology in some way can get added to you. So I feel like a gremlin getting dropped in Delphi should be detrimental at all costs. Like, that's just terrifying. But granted, I also feel like they shouldn't be that's not just detrimental. I shouldn't be like different classifications maybe, because I like the idea of gremlins just being pranksters, like I said, where they're a nuisance. If they get in Delphi, they're not going to be, okay, we're all screwed, everyone hunt down the gremlin. It's more of, okay, we have 3 gremlins in this warehouse because they like the smell of the mattress factory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have to hunt, like, we have to deal with them.
What I'm currently imagining, and my mind's just everywhere now. So I really like this idea of a PC
mm-hmm.
that has what I'm gonna call, I don't know, Grimtech muscles.
Okay.
So they're
ooh.
Yeah. Yes.
Not to steal from it, but because I love it anyway. What if Grimtech? Because you said that Grimtech muscles. What if? Yes, the gremlins are created. What if like someone, for some reason, you came into contact with not fully formed gremlins?
Right.
So the Grimtech muscle attached to you.
That's interesting, and I like it.
Because then you could have.
Like
you
a
have
whole line of upgrades for that, prostheses,
yeah.
and.
Or I mean, it'd be like super organic tech, yeah.
Well, so I'm imagining, like, I think it'd be really cool if your PC is able to, reach over to someone's computer, and the muscles in your hand become like cybernetic cords that begin like connecting to their computer and like hacking into it, and that is like your Grimtech, right?
What if there's a minor lab?
Just on Grimtech? Yeah, no, it's...
I mean, like, what if there's a minor lab that tried to study gremlins, and maybe that's why they would exist, because I'm not sure why, if someone could do that, unless they're going to be like, we're going to make it more that's an origin specialty, and they're very rare, in which case that makes sense. But if it's something that you could get later on, I feel like that would need to be defined. But if it's
I mean, it could just be a specialty.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be origin, where like you either, if you take it at first level, you can say that your origin is that you have Grimtech, but like that's a character building choice, right?
Yeah.
You can have Grimtech at any point in time.
Yeah.
Or you can buy Grimtech prostheses.
Oh god, that turns into a whole thing also.
A legal black market.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is. I think it's a legal black market tech.
Yeah, I think it is.
Because they're literally harvesting gremlins for that stuff.
Yeah. Well, so
could explain why gremlins aren't like people when like like 5 years ago this was a huge bust, or people learned that there's some crime organization was harvesting gremlins to make this stuff, and people were disgusted and they kind of freaked out. So now like gremlins kind of have this like soft spot in people's eyes where like they're not. It's like, you know, they can't help that they do what they do, but eradicating and hunting them down is wrong. But like, you know, if it's pest control, like, oh, this warehouse, like I saw 3 or 4 gremlins in there, you know, the pest control will go and catch them and like just use a Core Plus tube to shoot them off somewhere else, or try and talk to them and like study them and like negotiate with them, because maybe there's a contingent kind of, I'm going to use Harry Potter. Maybe there's like a Harry Potter style where like the gnomes and house elves and like they like, there's a little contingent of them that in Delphi that they just kind of got a good deal of, hey, you can play with tech all you want. We just need you to do certain things for us.
Yeah, I also really like the idea of gremlins being mostly like war tech. Like,
yeah,
most gremlins were made during the war. A surprising number of them have lasted till now. And I mean, yeah, more gremlins have been created through weird ways that we don't fully understand because gremlins are weird. But Eric mentions that gremlins are like rust monsters, and I totally agree. But yeah, no, I think that I think there being kind of this difference between like original war gremlins, which are eroded, devolved.
They're almost like
creatures.
war scraps and ghouls, where they've just been around so long they don't remember.
Right.
They just know. Yeah, they are literally the gremlins from the movies. They got water on them and fed. They went batshit.
But then oh man, I love Grimtech. I think Grimtech is really fun.
I think that'd be a great black market thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I really want to play, you know, my network operative that has a Grimtech arm.
God, dude, hell, a Neurogrind with Grimtech would be terrifying.
What did I say? I said network? I meant Neurogrind. Yeah.
That's fair. To be fair, I understand. I switch them too a lot.
Yeah. They're so similar.
Oh, God. Oh, man, an Anatomics Grimtech?
Oh, that's weird.
Like, you could splice with everything. Ew.
Yeah. I like it.
Ugh. That's terrifying. Cool. Well, I feel better about Gremlins now.
Yeah, I
gotta go back and redo them a little bit, but still.
I really want to add, like, gremlins of different aesthetics. Like, warg-style gremlins, or, like, yeah, I don't even know. Let's just have a giant, like, elephant gremlin. It just has giant, like, artillery fused into its back.
That would be pretty cool. To be fair, kind of going along with that, back to that a little bit, because it's lore based, but it is also adversaries and monster based. Because we were talking about making more NPCs to play with. Something I do want to play with, since we've got a better understanding, I think, of our power armor in vehicles now with after playing around with some stuff. I really want to get the Zodiac. The Zodiac Collective. I can't remember what I named them. I told you like one joke idea I had, and then you wrote like 3 paragraphs. And I'm like, holy crap. But them, I love the idea of who did I write? It was for the acquisitions team. The Nicholas Grigori, the Initiative, the acquisitions company, things like that. Like, it's basically evil internet companies, eviler versions of them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I want to make some more NPCs for sure.
Yeah.
Which I think a Grimtech bootleggers. What if that's how they kind of make it work?
Wow, and I could just imagine them like just stealing tribe tech through.
Oh God.
Oh man.
What if Grimtech allows them to better use? I'm sorry, I moved away from my microphone. What if Grimtech allows them to better use tech?
Yeah, no, and I think it would. I think effectively, like you're using your body to try and get past security scores and use technology that you otherwise don't have access to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You also, as a player, if you're getting Grimtech, you're also putting a target on your back.
Yeah.
Because like like your lab might be like, oh, okay, look the other way. But like if another lab goes, you know your guy has that, your lab now has to go, well, you're in trouble now, get in jail.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally
Oh, that
agree.
could be, yeah. All
Well,
right, so Gremlins, yeah.
yeah, or having I don't know. I keep imagining like having a key card or like a an HD drive or something like that, like hidden inside of your
Yes.
Grimtech arm.
Oh God, now I want to play with more the idea of like the organic cybernetic and alien tech stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Do aliens exist? Are we going with that?
The my official stance is that aliens do exist, but we're not going to touch on them in the core.
Okay, acceptable.
So I definitely have a full adventure
So,
outlined in my head.
so space travel will wait till the core after core for that stuff.
Yeah, because Core
Okay,
Plus is going to space.
thank you. I just wanted to be sure. I'm like, man, I do not want to have to deal with zero gravity rules right now. Which really they won't be that hard. I guess theoretically you just like you're gonna need a lot of stuff. Anyway, uh, but okay, cool. Just curious, but should we? So with that, I wonder, and kind of just spitballing here with that. What if something like things have fallen from space, right? Like meteorites or satellites.
Yeah.
What if some satellites have fallen from space that no one really claimed? Like like during the War of Eden, maybe a satellite fell. It's one of the triggering factors is a satellite fell from space, but no one claimed it. Hi, cat. Um, and some weird stuff came out of it.
I like that idea.
Just because I want to add more alien creatures, like alien things that we can use, but also like have some of that weird. I also really want to delve into if colony being related to anatomics. I think we can play with a lot more of that bioorganic weaponry,
Mm-hmm.
and I really do want to like I want to make more of the general stuff now. I think for crafts of like more weird, crazy bioorganic, more weird, crazy cybernetic stuff, things like that, so we can go cool. Does anyone fit better with this that needs to have it, or can it be like this stuff existed and you can see like references like, oh, maybe this came from anatomics or ascent, but because bootleggers exist and companies exist and traders exist, certain patents got out.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you.
And labs also just wanting to post stuff and like make money because well, like anatomics, like the healers kit or patch up kits I gave you guys,
Mm-hmm.
I based off anatomics' mend ability, but I think the lore I put was literally like anatomics made these to like sell to people because what better publicity than being able to go look what I can do, bandage.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Oh god, now I gotta figure out what am I talking about on Friday. Also, but in case people are sorry, tangent on that, the level 12 Monster Bash Bonanza, we're figuring it out still. Warhorn didn't. I didn't get message back from Warhorn to say that my thing got accepted, so I don't know how we're gonna organize it yet.
Weird.
Yeah, like it said it'd get back to me in 2 to 3 days, and then they didn't get back to me until the day after I had said it.
Oh.
So I was like, okay. So that's why we didn't announce it last week. So I was going to do it last week. Like, oh, here we go. Surprise. Bam. But they never got back to me until Friday.
Wow.
So, yeah. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do something in Discord or whatever. But I do want to do that soon because I really love it. And I'm excited to run some stuff. And I know, Daniel, you're excited to play in it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Someone from Tephra had a starfish that attacked the PC's arm. Called off and 8 bones only. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, but I like
That's cool though.
Um, so I think we're gonna end the stream about there.
With starfish bone bullets.
Yeah, starfish bone bullets.
Yes. I
And
mean, hey, we got gremlins. What we do? We gremlins. We went through Kagome a bit. We talked about some potential lore.
I think the main walkaway here is that labs will be primarily organic, cybernetic, or alien in their
True.
abilities, and I think that is super cool.
That and we defined Delphi a little bit better.
We did. We did.
Yeah.
I'm,
Turns out, the humanity can change and not be assholes
yeah, but only in one very specific city, and
after a traumatic war,
yeah.
and only in our sci-fi fantasy book.
Well, you know. But let us know in the Discord or the comments what you want us to talk about in the future. I know Jake is planning on doing these pretty regularly.
Yes.
And
Doing Friday.
Friday?
Friday. What date is that?
Friday the Friday.
Friday the 4th. That's this Friday
4th.
in like 3 days. I think we're doing it at 1.
That sounds exciting. 1 p.m.
1 or 1:30. I'll figure it
Central
out.
Time. Yeah. So keep hanging with us. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled Retroscape live game next week, hopefully.
Should be.
And if not, we'll do something else here. Just
We'll figure something. Yeah, we'll
like
we'll stay on focus.
yeah. Well, no, but
No, we won't.
and everyone who is waiting for a book, those are on their way. So we're about to, yeah, it's good.
Yes.
And a new adventure coming out on the Patreon in the next couple weeks, and a lot of other just really good stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna try and more regularly put stuff on Patreon, kind of like these little dev chats of like little here's some diary stuff we're working on or whatnot. Actually, I'm gonna throw this out to you guys who are listening real quick. Because also you're there, if we or Sue and me, if I try and get a hold of other devs from other companies and other organizations we met through conventions and just do like little interviews, kind of like me and Daniel have been doing, just chatting, would people be interested in doing that kind of stuff? Because right now, obviously, with the Backstreet Boys tour, conventions are canceled, and if they're not, you really shouldn't be going to them. Let's be very clear. Huntsville, Alabama.
I mean, who would go to Hunt? Never mind. Yeah.
A lot of people went, actually. It's terrifying how many went.
Well, okay.
Sorry, that was a call out to Huntsville, Alabama, who had a convention.
Brave.
That's a word for it.
Yeah.
I didn't name the convention, so it's not me bashing anyone.
Clearly.
Hey, technically and legally, it's not.
Well, I'm not going to respond in the chat, but I'm going to tell you that if you did stuff like that, that sounds really cool, and I would totally watch.
Thanks. But yeah, if people want to do that and whatnot, or if you have creators that you know or would like us to contact, let us know, because I like making new friends, especially when the Backstreet Boys tour is going on and I can't talk to people. Daniel's one of the few people I get to talk to.
That's true.
And that's like once a week. If that.
Yeah, if that.
He has a cat to...
Normally during the live chat. Yeah, I have a cat. I'm pretty happy. Hello, cat. Hi.
But yeah. All right, I'm done with that. Yeah. Patreon, Discord, social media, blah, blah, blah. We love you.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye.